Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I hope you had a beautiful 4th of July, weekend. If you were able to celebrate on the weekend or the day of, congratulations if you were able to. I was able to celebrate on the actual day itself. We had fireworks. We had some great chow. We had some fun hors d'oeuvres. Watched Independence Day again. And it was a really fun day. The only thing that kind of sucks, though, about Independence Day, 4th of July, doing fireworks during a weekday when you have to work the next morning like me, is that fireworks are only supposed to be done when it's nighttime, when you can't see to light up the sky. And unfortunately, here where I live, it gets very late before it gets completely dark outside, or completely enough for you to be like, okay, now we can do fireworks. You don't want to do them when they're too, just in the daytime, because it defeats the entire purpose of a firework. I've never even tried to do a firework in broad daylight. Like, I wonder if that would even, if you could even see, all the things that the fireworks have to offer. And I think it would just be very, very strange to do that. Like, can you imagine lighting a firework? And I live in California, so we're kind of wimps about fireworks, so we're only allowed the ones that you can just view from the ground. But I can only imagine, like, if you have like bottle rockets, or like ones that are like you can shoot up into the sky and they blow up in the sky, that you couldn't really see much of anything. Especially if like the sun is like right above the fireworks, like you can't see anything in that situation. But the ones that we do here legally, that are on the ground, I wonder like how that would look. I've never even thought or pictured how that would look. But now just thinking about it, it could be pretty bad. It would be terrible, honestly. I mean, no one would want to do it either, because when you do them at night, at least it's cooler out. It's not as hot. The sun isn't really like beating on you. You can probably, honestly, how hot it's been in here, this year, you could probably just like leave out a firework with the fuse there, and it might even light it itself because it would be so hot. Well, you know what I would do actually? In those movies where the kid messes with the ants and he just gets like a magnifying glass and just like directs the beam of light on every ant and just like burns them to smithereens. I would try to do that with fireworks and lighting them off. I would see like if I had the accuracy to get a magnifying glass, aim it at a fuse on a firework, and see if I could ignite it that way. That would be pretty cool. If I'm being honest, like that would be freaking sick if that actually worked. I'm pretty sure it does work, because I mean, I have tried using the magnifying glass, not on ants or anything like living, but like I just used it like on like a leaf, like a dead leaf that was just there. And it actually did kind of catch it on fire, made it smoke a little bit. So I was wondering, like, well, you know what? This thing that I saw from Toy Story, it actually is real. This is not bullshit. This is not mumbo jumbo. This actually happens in real life. Like using a magnifying glass to ignite a small beam of light, or to produce a small beam of light to ignite something, actually fully, truly does work. It was actually one of the things that I was like, oh yeah, not everything in movies is like fake. Some of it is actually real. I don't know, I think that'd be pretty cool. But back to the original point, fireworks in broad daylight, that would be pretty trash, And like I said, we had to stay up later, and I had to stay up later, and we had to wait longer to do them because it just wasn't dark enough to do them. Because, you never want to do it when it's too light outside. I mean, it's just stupid. It defeats the purpose of having fireworks light up the darkness, We did have a get together with my friends though on that same Saturday. And we didn't have fireworks, but I was actually kind of glad that we didn't, because we were kind of thinking about, like, what if we, had this get together on Saturday instead of actually the day of 4th of July, just because it's a Saturday and people can, come and have that day off. And then we thought, should we still get fireworks? Could we even get fireworks? And I was thinking to myself, like, well, we probably could, because, we're technically celebrating 4th of July. I'm pretty sure that we could. And then that day, I remembered that all the fireworks stands had already, like, pretty much packed up and, cleaned up their shop. So I was like, oh yeah, once it's like past 4th of July, you pretty much cannot no longer buy the fireworks. I mean, you could probably keep them, buy them up until the 4th of July, stow them away. But at that point, it's like, you're going to be the only house lighting fireworks on the 6th of July. Like, I don't think so. So we passed on that. But, we still had a get together. We had some good food, good time hanging out. It was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend of freedom, letting freedom ring and celebrating the 4th of July in style as best that they could. I certainly did. I hope you all did too. Moving on to some actual, news that dropped this week, and, not news like in terms of like news that's going to affect anybody's actual life, but news that is, I would say is somewhat important to me, very important to me, and it could be important to you as well. Like I said, from the beginning of this show's even existence, this show is not about serious stuff. This show is not really about politics or policy or religion or any crap like that. It's about having fun. It's always been about having fun. And what I think is fun, and what I think interests me, and what I think is entertaining, and what I think is not entertaining. One of my biggest, the biggest things that I actually love about this podcast and about this show is that I'm able to voice opinions that I have about things that, I could agree with or I could not agree with. And one of the things that I have, I guess, I wouldn't even say that I'm in the minority in this. I would say, like, I'm actually the majority of this opinion, is the trailer for Gladiator 2 came out a couple of days ago. And I have some thoughts. Now, before I get to those thoughts on the trailer, I want to give, everybody, I want everybody to know where I stand on this movie in particular, Gladiator 2. I fully do not want this movie to, I fully did not, it's already been, I fully did not want this movie to be made. I'm just going to say it right there from the start. I did not want this movie to be made. For real. When it was first announced, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that they were talking about making a Gladiator 2, I honestly looked in the mirror. Not in the mirror. I looked at myself, not even looking in the mirror, but like looking up, pretending I was looking at myself and just shaking my head. Like, I need to look at somebody and direct my disappointment at somebody on this news, because this is extremely, extremely bad news. Extremely bad news. Why? I'll tell you why. Gladiator itself, the first Gladiator with Russell Crowe, directed by Ridley Scott, which I believe came out in 2000 or 2001, I can't remember, is a cinematic masterpiece. And I think that in a way it is, it represents the time of which the movie was made, but also, holding up very, very well in terms of watchability, effects, story, emotion, all that stuff. I think it's just like almost like a perfect cinematic movie, a perfect movie. Gladiator is a perfect movie, and it's from start to finish. It's a one singular story that isn't too much or isn't too it isn't something that it's not trying to be. It's exactly what it is. It's a tragedy. It's an epic. It's a ballad. All you want in like your cinematic watching experience, it has all of those things. With defined characters, like Maximus, played by um, Russell Crowe, the Emperor, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and so on. And I think the story itself, the story of revenge, is told extremely, extremely well and extremely um, impactful in Gladiator. And I think that there really hasn't been a movie that has resonated with audience in the way that this one has, given the time period that the movie takes place in and giving the circumstances of what the character has to face, and how the character, if you haven't seen Gladiator, spoilers ahead, how the character needs to build himself back up in order to get the revenge that he so greatly desires to get upon from the loss of his family. And it's a beautiful tale, and I think that I think everybody should watch it for first and foremost. But if you do watch it, I think that people will be moved by the movie, moved by the cinematography, moved by the story, the soundtrack, the acting, the locations, the sets, the way the movie looks is just gorgeous, and how everything plays out in the movie is just beautiful. I think that movie, truly is like one of like the last great benchmarks of like cinematic storytelling that has been made within the past like 25 years. Like, it stands the test of time, in my opinion. And to hear about Gladiator 2 being developed at first, I was like, no, just like that story, that air quotes franchise should not be touched again. And I don't care if it's Ridley Scott coming back. I think that you have to do something else, something different. Why would you not want to do something different? I mean, yes, the movie's popular, but I don't think that anybody actually who enjoys the movie wants to see or ever envisioned like a sequel to this story. I just don't think that was in anybody's zeitgeist or anybody's train of thought. Like, oh, what would be cool? A sequel to Gladiator. But I'm not the one making the decisions, right? I'm not the one who greenlit this idea to be a thing. That was, I believe it's Universal making this. I could be wrong. No. I think it's Paramount that's making Gladiator 2. But nonetheless, Paramount is in a bit of a pickle financially. So I think that they need to make as much money as they can. And if they think that, Gladiator 2 is going to be like is going to be like another Top Gun Maverick, I guess, they got to do what they got to do, right? But after watching this trailer, and after, giving my spiel about what I think previously about Gladiator, and then now that they're making Gladiator 2, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The trailer is 3 minutes long. The movie is starring Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, and Denzel Washington in the roles. New characters, except for Paul Mescal, who is playing the character Lucius, who is the what's his name? The Emperor's son in the first movie. He's like that little boy that's like with the Emperor, and that's his son, I guess, or adopted son. I can't remember, but that's him in this movie. It's not the same actor, but it's the same character, just, in the future, Pedro Pascal plays like some general for the Roman army. I think that Denzel Washington plays like some kind of like higher up games master, I think, who like, puts like the gladiators into battle and makes them, makes money that way, I believe. But the whole vibe from the trailer just really gave me like Napoleon vibes. Napoleon trailer. Napoleon when I first saw it, was not a good movie, just not a good movie. But I remember that the trailers for that movie really, really made me worried about it because it uses modern music and modern, cultured music to put in a movie that's a historical biopic, or maybe not a biopic in this case, but a historical period piece movie. And it's the same for this movie, Gladiator 2. They put, like, I think it was Jay-Z's music over this movie's trailer. And honestly, it just took me right out of it. It took me right out. I couldn't really focus on the trailer because it just didn't make any sense. Like, I'm watching a trailer for a movie that is, about the Roman Empire. And, nothing about, like, modern day anything. And I'm getting, like, modern day music in it. And it's, like, a little bit remixed a little bit. So it's cut to the trailer where it's, like, fitting the beats and the cuts and all that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, this isn't getting my attention. This actually makes me not want to watch this movie whatsoever. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it actually kind of made me totally just not care for this at all. And I'm like looking at it and I'm watching this trailer and I'm like, wow, these shots are incredible. These characters are pretty interesting. The story is kind of the same in a way. I mean, it's going to be about a gladiator again. In this case, is Paul Mescal's character instead of Russell Crowe's. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to catch well with people. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I mean, the movie does have 12 million views on YouTube on the Paramount Pictures account. So, and that's just after like a couple of days. But I'm not buying this trailer whatsoever. For the fact that, one, I wasn't really, jonesing for a sequel because I just didn't see a necessary story there. And after watching this trailer, not only being annoyed by the music, but after, really watching it, paying attention to what's in the trailer, like the substance of the story, I'm reminding myself, like, hey, yeah, I was right. There really is no urgency for a story here. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I think that this movie doesn't really have much of a story. It has more of a brand, and I guess in air quotes, franchise. Like I said, Gladiator, I guess, is now a franchise. And when I saw it, I'm like, only confirming myself, like, yeah, this is not it. This might be forced. I mean, I don't think I'm the only one who thinks this, but as soon as I was finished watching that trailer, I'm like, wow, I really didn't like that. I'm actually a little, I'm really worried now about this movie and if it's going to be any good at all. I have to be completely honest with you guys. I really did feel like I was let down. But I think I'm at an age now where I don't need to pretend to myself that I'm actually excited for something or I'm not excited for something. And this trailer was of something that I was like, yeah, I'm not excited whatsoever. I don't think that, that many people are going to be excited by this. I think that a lot of people are going to be turned off by this. And, I think it's going to get a lot of views because of the interest of, like, oh, Gladiator, that came out like 25 years ago. What's this all going to be about? And then seeing it and then like realizing, like, yeah, if you've seen the first one, you're going to like realize that this might just be like the same thing as the first movie. Like I said, I mean, it's got like some beautiful looking shots and beautiful effects and beautiful battle scenes. And it's crazy what modern day filmmaking can do. But at the same time, you can't trick me with these stories, I mean, I'm seeing it flat on. This is the same exact story of Maximus, but now with Paul Mescal's character, which, the trailer does show its respect for the first movie. It shows, like, how Paul Mescal's character is deeply touched and wants to do the character of Maximus well because he was very fond of Maximus. He was like, he looked up to Maximus when he was a kid, and he was like his hero. So like, that part is, respectable from the previous movie, but at the same time, I'm just not getting enough of its own story and what it has to offer in this trailer. And while I'm watching this, I'm like, yeah, it's missing something. It's missing something, and it's like it's like very obvious. This movie is like missing its own identity and its own spirit and its own heart. So I mean, I like I said, when I was watching this, I was like, why don't I love this? Why am I not enjoying this? Why am I not vibing with this? And then at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, because there's like nothing there. Like this seems like a very, very like generated movie idea that some executive was like, why don't we just make Gladiator 2? Like, we ever want to see what happened with that? And then you're like, the whole part of what made Gladiator 1 so successful was the character of Maximus, who was played by Russell Crowe, who died in the first movie. So there really is like no point. Like, he is the Gladiator. Like, that's the whole story. When you get just Gladiator 2, it almost kind of in a way diminishes the title of Gladiator. Like, it's not just what he was in that movie, the first one. He even calls himself Gladiator because he doesn't want anybody to know who he is, and he's just like kind of like throwing his life away in a way and to become this gladiator to complete his mission of revenge. Like, I don't know, I just feel like the movie just seems like a big cash grab and just not a lot of heart and soul is being put into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't, I don't see it. I truly don't see it. Like I said, it was more than just the title of a movie. It's who that guy was or who he came to be. And I just don't know if I can buy it with this one. I truly don't know. Now, Ridley Scott, man. I mean, I think that your movies look so astonishing, so beautiful. You haven't had a lot of good movies in the past, like, and the movie that you probably are not very proud of because it didn't do well, but was actually a really good movie, was The Last Duel. That was a really, really, really good movie. Phenomenal film, I think. Phenomenal movie that did terrible at the box office. You're probably not proud of that. I wouldn't be either, but it was still a very, very, very good movie. But the movies you've had in the past after that, Napoleon and now this, I mean, like, I think he missed the mark entirely on Napoleon. I think that Napoleon was a totally miscalculated error on movie making. Just movie making in general is just not a very good, enjoyable movie. And then before that, I think he did Alien Covenant, which was not very good. And then before that, he did like a movie called I think it was called like no, it wasn't Noah. What was it called? It was called Gods and Kings Exodus or something like that. That was, a good-looking movie, like a nice-looking movie, but a very bad movie. Very, very bad story. This might actually end up in that same boat of movies. Like, he just kind of is, like, missing, I think, like, the stories and, like, what we want to see nowadays. I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of, like, where this movie's going. A bunch of like, pretty pictures and pretty scenes and pretty effects, and then not much of a story. That kind of seems like the route that most Hollywood directors are going these days, or maybe not directors, but what most Hollywood studios are trying to push. I don't know why, but it's happening more and more often, and I think the more it happens, the more they're going to see that, this is just not good enough. We as audiences, I think that we deserve better, and we know what's good. We know what good movies have, and we know what good movies don't have. I mean, look at not Despicable. Look at Inside Out 2, bro. That movie I heard was really, really, really good, and you know what? It showed within the box office. I think it passed over $1 billion, but it clearly wasn't just because it was a cartoon movie for kids to go watch. it was genuinely very good, and then word of mouth spread, and then people were like, you got to see this, you got to see that, you got to see Inside Out too, and then people just started going, and people kept going back. So I think that, if you make good movies, people will come. Like, it's truly not that hard to do. The question is what do these people think good movies are? Do they think good movies are like an Inside Out 2, where people actually cared about it and made a good movie and made a movie that people wanted to see and would gravitate towards it? Or are there people like who just make Despicable Me 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on? Who just want to make it just so because they have a gimmick in the Minions, and the kids love Minions, and they're going to make their parents go and see the movie, and just like that. That's how I felt with, not to get too sidetracked, that's what I felt about Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers was one of the movies that, kind of broke that trend of not a very, very good movie, not like a super rewatchable movie in my opinion. But it had Mario, it had Luigi, it had Donkey Kong, it had Bowser, it had all the things that the kids love, and the kids were like, whoa, Mario in a movie, let's go watch. And then they made the parents go take him, and they had a good time. That movie actually made $1 billion as well, I think. You know what, just for shits and giggles, I just kind of want to Google and check out the box office total for Despicable Me 4. But I know it's doing well because that's all that's out there right now. It's just that. Right now it has $255 million worldwide. Now, I don't know if it's going to be able to do all that well, I'll be honest with you, because I've heard it is just not that good. Whereas Inside Out 2 has a $1.2 billion. So, I think it's going to show within these, within these numbers right here, that if Despicable Me is truly not very good, and clearly this one is full of Minions and full of the things that kids love, if they're not going back to go watch it, then maybe we got a bit of a situation on our hands. Illumination. Maybe you can't really rely on the Minions all the time to make your bucks. I'm just saying. Moving on though. Sticking with movies, not really moving along just yet. Some really good news came out yesterday. No, today. No, yesterday. What day was it? I can't remember. Very recently, good news. Shrek 5 is in development. Is actually coming out July 1st, 2026. Starring Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz. Coming back to voice Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona. I gotta be honest. Seeing this news was really, really... It was long overdue because it was announced like a long time ago that they're thinking about it, that it's going to happen. But now it's official. Universal has finally confirmed that it will be coming out July 1st, 2026. And don't worry, I did not stutter. That is the actual date. July 1st, 2026. That's a long time, fellas. That is almost 2 years to put this movie out. Now, originally, I had heard maybe about 2 years ago that Illumination, who is also owned by Universal, was going to take up the helm to animate Shrek, the newest Shrek movie. Luckily, that's not going to happen. It says DreamWorks is still doing it, which, for me, it's great news because this is just going to be nostalgia all over the place. I mean, I love Shrek. Shrek 1, 2, incredible movies. If you haven't seen Shrek 1 and 2, check them out. I mean, 3 and the 4th, not very good. I mean, I've seen the 3rd. I don't think I've seen Shrek 4. So don't quote me on that's a trash movie, but Shrek 3 was not very good. So I don't know about that one. But Shrek 1 and 2, great movies. I would even go and say that Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1. I mean, if you think about it, Shrek 1 introduces all the things that you want to see in fantasy, right? Ogres, kingdoms, lands, castles, lords, Farquads, ogres, donkeys, Pinocchios, magic mirror, princesses, dragons, yada, yada, yada. Number 2 not only keeps all that stuff in there, but it even goes above and beyond, right? Above and beyond, we got magic potions, Puss in Boots, we got Gingy, Big Gingy, Sexy Shrek, Sexy Donkey, Prince Charming, we got the King, the Queen, we got a badass musical track, Live La Vida Loca, Accidentally in Love, so on and so on. Oh, did I almost forget? Who was it? Fairy Godmother, even a more sinister villain than Lord Farquaad. I mean, like, the movie just elevates on every single level that Shrek 1 laid the ground for. I mean, Shrek 2 is the Dark Knight of the Shrek movies, where everybody is like, almost everybody is like in singular agreement that the second movie is the best movie of the franchise. I think that Shrek 2 is clearly the best one out of the whole franchise. And it only makes me even more excited that their original cast is coming back, especially Miss Cameron Diaz, who I had thought was done with acting. I had thought that she had hung up her, scripts and hung up her costumes and makeup and all that, and was like, nah, I'm done with acting. Now, apparently not. She's going to come back and voice Fiona, which I'm excited for. Eddie Murphy has had a resurgence in his career in terms of acting and stuff like that, so he's officially back. Mike Myers, I actually haven't seen that fool in a while, so it's going to be pretty cool to see Mike Myers back voicing Shrek. The story of Shrek and the voicing of Shrek goes back a long time ago, because Shrek was, is a Universal movie. So, who makes Universal, or what Universal makes is SNL, right? They're like the parent company of NBC or whatever. I don't know, and they make SNL. And originally, the voice of Shrek was going to be Chris Farley. And there's actually recordings out there of Chris Farley and Eddie Murphy, voicing Shrek and Donkey together. And I listened to those recordings, and I gotta be honest, man, you can find them on YouTube and shit. Chris Farley just does not sound right as Shrek. And I just was, I could not take it seriously of him being Shrek. Now, I'm pretty sure if he was Shrek from day one, if he actually got to voice Shrek, we would probably not even care at all, or even debate. He probably would still be really good, because the movie itself is really good. But Mike Myers doing Shrek how he does Shrek is like almost like irreplaceable now. It's like almost like you cannot have somebody else do SpongeBob other than Tom Kenny. Like, he has nailed that Shrek voice and made it so iconic throughout the years. Not just the movies, but the memes, the quotes, his accent in the movies. Like, it's just so like iconically Shrek. And so it kind of like defines Mike Myers' career on his ability to be Shrek. And I was just like, hearing those recordings of Chris Farley being Shrek, or auditioning or recording as Shrek, I was just like, nah, this ain't it. This is just not it. And, Chris Farley, I believe, passed away before he could truly get into doing Shrek. So he wasn't able to do it, and that's why Mike Myers stepped in. It's a tragedy to happen, but you know what? We got Mike Myers voicing Shrek now, and I think it's all pretty well right now, But yeah, Shrek 5 coming out 2026. Like I said, I did not stutter. That's coming out in 2026. Mark your calendars because I already did. That's going to be a summer movie for the ages. I knew that. I knew that DreamWorks wasn't done animating movies. They just made Kung Fu Panda 4 this past year. Like, what makes you think that they're going to be done animating movies? I only thought that because Illumination was getting too popular. And like I said, Universal owns Illumination. So I was like, well, that Illumination, like I said, is making Minions and Despicable Me's and Mario and Secret Life of Pets and all that stuff. I gotta say, their animation's pretty hot. Like, their animation is crisp. They have some good-looking animation, I can't lie. And there was, like I said, rumors that Shrek 5 might be Illumination's project. Thank God that didn't happen, because I don't know if I could actually look at Illuminationed Shrek, Donkey, Fiona, Dragon. I don't think I could look at that. I just think it would be so, wrong for that to, those characters to be Illuminationized. They did that with the Grinch. They took the live action Grinch and was like, we hate this. And then they made a cartoon Grinch with Illumination animation, and they're like, this is our Grinch now. And I actually watched that movie, and it's not a very good movie whatsoever. It's not even really a Christmas movie if you think about it. I think it came out in like March when that movie came out, and I was like, this is kind of a weird time to put out a movie, but whatever. No, it might have come out in September, I think. March or September, but not a Christmas month. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? This makes no sense. And, it just doesn't look good. Coming from my envision of the character being either from the book or as Jim Carrey in the Grinch suit, I just saw Benedict Cumberbatch's mopey ass voice this mopey fucking character known as the Grinch, and I was like, nah, bro, this just ain't it. Like, I know you're trying very hard to make a new Grinch, but this just ain't it. You thought you could use Minion technology to make the Grinch more appealing for children, and you're wrong. You just couldn't do it. Sorry. What else do I got here? I think I got some more movie news, yeah. This is kind of a shock, I'll be honest. But again, not really a shock. Kevin Costner is a hot button topic for fans of Yellowstone right now. Fans of Yellowstone at the moment do not like Kevin Costner at all. My mom is a fan of Yellowstone. She loves that show. She can't stand Kevin Costner right now because he essentially quit the show to make his movies Horizon, which is a Western epic that is currently in theaters. We'll get to that soon. But Kevin Costner has pretty much played the villain in this entire situation. He does not give a fuck that he is no longer in Yellowstone. He does not give a shit about that. He seems to be very conceited about this, it all being about him, not giving a shit about the fans that loved Yellowstone, that essentially kind of gave him a revival of his career. Let's be honest. I mean, Kevin Costner's been a very established actor, but you cannot deny the propulsion that he got from the show Yellowstone. He was never really about westerns. He was just about rinky-dink old good guy movies, right? But now he does Yellowstone, and everybody sees him as a cowboy. Everybody sees him as the Western guy. And he, in a way, sort of kind of fed into that. And it was like, you know what? I made a modern Western show about a guy who wants his land in Montana. And I'll admit, I've seen seasons 1 through 4. Pretty good show. I will admit, pretty damn good show. He's good in it. The show is well written for him. In that strength, he does embody a cowboy, a Western guy, very well. But now, it seems like he's taken that, he's hijacked his image that he has grown into, that he has won people over as being this Western guy, and decided, you know what? I'm going to embark on a mission as me, Kevin Costner, the modern day cowboy, to make an epic Western about, I think it's about the some family or the families in the 1800s going west or something like that. I think it's something like that. But he is, now taking it upon himself, like, oh, I'm known as the Western guy. I'm this. They love me if I do this. I'll just make my own Western. And credit to him, he spent his own money making this. He directed it. I think he wrote it as well. And, he's made, so far he has one movie out in theaters called Horizon, the American Saga. And it's not doing very well. It's not doing very well at all. It's been out for about, let's see, 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks, about 2 weeks. And it's made $25 million. That's it. Only $25 million. Now, I thought that a lot of people would flock to see this movie. I truly do. I really thought that people, because a lot of people who watch Yellowstone like Kevin Costner. I think that because of his popularity in that show, being the character that he is, and being, at the forefront of that show, and being the life, blood, and identity of that show, that people will see that, oh, this guy's making another Western epic in the wild, wild West time in the 1800s. Let's get it. And no one showed up. Nobody saw this movie. $25 million. That is all. Clearly, there's a big disconnect between Kevin Costner and the fans of Kevin Costner and the fans of Yellowstone. I feel like a lot of people felt like they were betrayed by this man, who is not going to be in the final season of Yellowstone, by the way. It was announced, I think last week. And he even came out and said, I think it was that he came out about 2 weeks ago, saying that he was indefinitely not going to be in the last season of Yellowstone. And then, they announced that they're going to have season 5.2, I believe, coming out in November, I believe November, and him not being a part of it. And he has made it very, very clear that he is not a part of it. He doesn't care about it. He does not want to be in it. He says he tried to be in it and could not be in it and decided to make Horizon. And he would say that multiple times. I'm not in that anymore. Go see Horizon. I truly think, Kevin Costner, the way you abandoned your fans of Yellowstone, how you exited the project, the way that you have pretty much put the writers of that show into complete hell and just abandoning the project, has made them sour on your name and sour to anything that you put out. So people said, fuck Kevin Costner, and they didn't see his movie. I truly do think, Kevin Costner, that Yellowstone as a show, while it is just a show, is bigger than you. And you have to realize that you were a part of that show. You were the star of that show, but you were not bigger than the show. And I think when people sit down and talk about it and break it all down, they would much rather pick Yellowstone over your new Western movie that you promote so much, and you want them to just shut up, don't complain that you're not in Yellowstone, and go watch your new movie that you spent your own money to make. Pretty tough, I'll be honest. It's a tough situation, and I think that, the audiences have made it very, very clear that they don't care about Mr. Kevin Costner. They don't care about his movie. They care about Yellowstone, and he abandoned Yellowstone, and now they don't give a shit about him. So I think that, in a way, Kevin Costner is learning that the hard way, that yes, you're a star, yes, we like you because of you, but you're not bigger than the show. And people are going to voice their opinion with their wallet And they clearly did in this situation. And to further news, they have pulled the release of part 2, which was supposed to come out in August. So this one came out, and I believe on June 21st. I think that the next one was supposed to be come out in August 20th, I think, or something like that. It has been removed from the theatrical release date in order to give people time to discover Horizon Part 1. Now, let's be honest. I don't know if people are going to, find it and to have like another like a second chance boom, or people find it and like, oh yeah, let's all go watch Horizon Part 1. Look at this new movie that came out like 2 weeks ago. Let's go watch it now. Like, I don't think that's going to happen now. I think all the people that actually wanted to see it badly had already seen it, and now you're just going to get like maybe a couple million here or there. But that's about it, I think. I think that the last showings of how much it made on a single day was like 850 something thousand, 857,000, 50 something thousand, sorry. So it's not like still making a boatload of money, and I think that if you leave it out in theaters, it actually might do a little bit. It might not even make. It's already not going to make a profit. It's already shot to hell. But I feel like it's just gonna. The more you keep it out there, the more it's gonna be less and less profitable for Kevin Costner. So they pulled the release date of Part 2. They're not gonna put it out in August. And they've already, pretty much put it on video on demand. That way you can already purchase it and rent it at least and watch it that way. So, I mean, this guy, he really did think that he was bigger than the show of Yellowstone. And so big that, I'll carry this momentum that I have for myself being the Western guy, and I'll make my own Western saga. And it didn't do anything. It didn't do shit. And I think he's learning that the hard way, that he's the way he goes about things, he comes off as a very, very, very snobby, unlikable celebrity, which I think is polar opposite to the character that he plays on the show that so many people identified with. Seeing him go back to his scummy celebrity self is a little bit of a turnoff. And not even just a turnoff, a betrayal of people's perception that they got of you from that role in that show. Yes, people should not do that, but nonetheless, it happened. And that's what people think of you now. And it's your fault now for thinking so high of yourself to abandon something that so many people loved. Not just because of you. Yes, you were the anchor of it. You were the main character. But there were so many other characters and things that they loved about that show that you're not going to be in it. I mean, you are the glue to that show. You are the character. It all revolves around you. So the fact that you're gone is just like, what happens now? I truly think that there is no way that this season 5.2 is salvageable at all. Like, he's just gonna die off screen. Like, what the hell is gonna happen? How is any of this gonna even move forward? What could possibly be written to make any sense of that story to move forward? I have no idea. There was rumors, months ago that Kevin's not gonna come back, and they have to think about who can replace him. There was names like Matthew McConaughey possibly having to replace him, even possibly Matthew McConaughey getting his own TV show in the Yellowstone universe. Like, is that going to happen? Possibly. I don't know. It was just like, I just thought that it was strange and interesting and crazy, and also kind of saw it coming, how so many people just turned on this guy's back. They just turned on Kevin Costner's back and did not see his movie. Just did not see it. Just were like, you know what? I hate this guy. This guy left my show that I love so much. He's putting out a movie that's a Western. I should watch it, but fuck him. He's not John Dutton no more. Fuck him. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And it played out in real time. He did all these interviews where he just did not give a fuck about Yellowstone or the fans of Yellowstone, and just stomped on them with his boot. Dead. You're dead to me. Well, you know what, Kevin? You're dead to them. Big time. All right, moving on to some sports news before I get out of here, before I skedaddle, before my time is up. We'll talk about some sports. Scratch that. We're talking about Xbox. Xbox has now moved into the digital streaming device realm. Now, it has been on other platforms to digitally stream games, but Xbox recently announced via commercial that you no longer need an Xbox to play games, to play Xbox games. All you need is a Game Pass account, an Xbox controller, and a Fire TV, Amazon Fire TV stick that plugs right into your TV. So now, ladies and gentlemen, Xbox has truly admitted, well, they have in the past, but is now making moves to never make a console again. Now, you would say, but hold on, Alex, they're putting out 2 new consoles coming out this fall. The 2 terabyte Xbox Series X and the digital Xbox Series X. Well, yes, that is coming out. But this is just a step in the direction of no more consoles for us. We are now moving to all digital, and not just digital, but digital streaming games. So now you have the ability to plug in your Amazon Fire TV stick, open up the Xbox gaming app on there, hooking up a controller, and playing the games that are available on Xbox Game Pass through your Fire TV stick by Amazon. Wow. Look at us. Look at us. Look at this. You now can play a video game. No. You cannot play it. No. You can stream it through a TV stick and play it. Air quotes, play it. You'll have a bunch of lag. You'll have a lot of latency problems. You won't even own the game ever. You'll never have any ownership of any of these games that you might fall in love with, that you might want to, buy in the future. Oh, wait, but you can't, because you can only stream them on this device. Only Fire TV sticks allow you to stream them. So you essentially have to buy a console. Oh, wait, they're $400 or $500. Why would I even do that? You see, Xbox, you are the dumbest company of all time. You are dumb. You are clear. Okay, you have lost the console war. You've admitted that. First of all, you've never won. You've never even led PlayStation in console sales. You've never even led Nintendo on console sales ever. You're still selling consoles, yet you put this shit out and hoping, miraculously, that people will, one, actually buy into this, use this feature on their Fire Sticks, which I don't think anybody is going to do, because you're already confusing the general public as it is. Like, wait, don't I need an Xbox to play games on Xbox? No, you just need a Fire Stick TV stick and you're good. I just don't know. I just don't understand, like, who is viewing this and is like, oh yeah, that's for me. Maybe 1 out of 5 million people is thinking about this, is thinking like, oh yeah, this is how I want to play video games. No one is thinking about this whatsoever. No one thinks that this is a good idea. You should not think that this is a good idea. Not whatsoever. No way, no shape, no form, no how. This is not a good idea whatsoever. I mean, I just think that, Xbox at this point doesn't care really about anything. If I'm really truly being honest, like, they don't care about the consoles. They don't care about the games that they put on their consoles. They don't care about the games that they have to offer. All they care about right now is Activision, and that's about it. That they acquired Activision for what? Candy Crush and Call of Duty. I truly don't understand what this company's doing now. I don't understand. You're still going to make consoles, yet you're making something that literally gives people a reason not to buy a console. Not to buy it. The cancel out function of a console, you have just allowed for that to happen. To be on this Fire Stick. This stupid little Fire Stick right here has the ability to stream Game Pass games through your TV with a membership and with an Xbox controller. But still, it's like, why on earth would you ever do that? I know you lost the console war, and you never won it. You never led. You never were ahead. Never, ever. But this, you're essentially going to cannibalize your entire player base. Like, I mean, the people who are loyal to you, who buy consoles from you, myself, people I know, now you're just making it like, oh, you can just stream it through your Fire Stick TV or whatever. It's like, what are we doing? I understand, like, you want everybody to play these games, but I think you're missing the point on, like, for one, who are you actually marketing to? Like, the people that you even have on your fucking ad, that person, those type of people don't play video games. Are you kidding me? What are we talking about here, Xbox? Like, it's like you're trying to make, like, games, like, hip and cool, which, you know, they are, but I feel like you also you don't put out any good games that make anybody want to buy your console in the first place. So what do? You make it available on, like, all these platforms to stream games on Xbox Game Pass, and then what? Is that even good quality? Streaming games, really? That's what it's come down to? Like, oh, I mean, we can't make you... No one's going to buy games anymore. Why don't we just have them stream it? No. You make games that people want to buy. You make consoles that people want to buy. That way they have to buy that to play the games that they want to play. You don't do any of those right now. You don't make consoles that people want to buy. You don't make games that people want to buy to play to buy the consoles. It's your fault. And you making everything so mainstream now is not only just, you know, broadening the audience and broadening the view on Xbox games, but it's also just you're watering down everything that you have now. Everything now that had quality and pristine perfection, was chiseled and structured and created and collaborated with and thought of, is now being watered down and just has no identity and no passion behind it. Nothing you make now, no game that you make now, no even console that you make now has passion behind it. I mean, Jesus Christ, what? You're adding another terabyte of storage for your Xbox Series X, and you're making an Xbox Series X digital version? Give me a break. That should have been out there day one of your release, not the Series S. You corrupt fuck. What's the matter with you? These are bad ideas. These are terrible ideas. These have no passion behind them. They have no drive behind them. They have no identity, no cheer, no joy, no nothing, no spirit. There's nothing there. And to make it even worse, the designs for these new consoles that you're putting out. I mean, what on earth? Who would do that? What did that? There was no chance a human being thought of that. You employed AI. Hey, AI, make me a new design for my new Xbox Series X. Okay, we'll do it right now. How about this? We'll take it. You didn't employ anybody. You hired no engineers, no hardware specialists, nothing. You probably put that in Copilot, and you're like, what can I get? What's the new Xbox design? Oh, how about this one? Oh, cool. Yeah, we'll go with that one. It's an embarrassment. They're truly an embarrassment. Now, you can pretty much almost guarantee that all these games that are going to be on Xbox Game Pass now are going to be absolute shit. You cannot. I mean, you can't tell me that these games are going to be any good. You can't tell me, because now you don't even have to buy a console to play the games. So what makes you think that they're going to be any good anyway? You know, we used to play games because the console that they made was a gateway for these developers to make games and push the limits of what they could do for a game. Technically, graphically, gameplay-wise, coding, these consoles were supposed to be created to make developers push their limits to make games that are even more fun, more intuitive, more innovative than ever before. Now, you're streaming games through a Fire Stick. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Last thing I want to talk about. I'm already pissed off about this. Small thing about sports. Small thing, just before I get out. The United States men's national team, soccer team, finally fired Gregg Berhalter. He was a manager the past 3 or 4 years, I think. Took us to the World Cup. We got to the round of 16. And then we got bounced out. And then this past Copa America, we got bounced out by Uruguay. Didn't even make it out of the knockout and make it out of the group stage. Colossal failure, even in with a World Cup in 2 years on our home soil, and we lose to Uruguay, and we lose to Panama, and we flame out of the Copa America. I mean, this decision should have been done as soon as the game was over. Like, this guy installed no drive, no spirit, no identity. And I think that, honestly, when I look at what we had as talent at the positions that we had, we really had no leadership and no mentality to even be that bad. But somehow Gregg Berhalter did that. He made us that bad. He made us one of the worst, giants at sports be so bad and mediocre at soccer. And as a fan of the United States men's national team, him being gone is now a breath of fresh air for me, because now I can look forward to another coach, another mentality, possibly new players, possibly a lot of new players, and, hopefully not more of the same old, same old. If I am the United States men's national soccer team boss, manager, general manager, owner, president, whatever, bro, I am going hard on these European coaches. I'm talking Jurgen Klopp, Jose Mourinho, Zidane, Pirlo, Xavi. Bro, I truly want to get some European juggernaut to fucking transform us into a fucking powerhouse. That way, the U.S. is fucking feared in the World Cup in 2 years, in 2026. For real, bro. This dude was just a scared puppy, man. He was so scared to do anything cool, or even look at new players, or just install a new identity at technicalities, just installing stuff that I probably couldn't do, let's be honest. But after seeing how his ideas just did not work, were just not working out, I just was like, yeah, it's just a time for something new. Our players can't be that bad. They just can't be that bad. I refuse to believe that they're that bad. And if they are that bad, let's get new players, and truly make a new team. a new team, maybe some of the old players, some new players, new mentality, and just go from there. Let's try that. I'm telling you, man, we got to go for some of these European guys. These guys know what they're talking about. They know the things that we just this dude Gregg Berhalter just couldn't think of. He just couldn't do in his brain. He couldn't think of passing the ball. He couldn't think of scoring the ball. I mean, I just don't understand. I have no idea. You're telling me that we don't have one fucking striker in this country that could fucking score the ball? Are you kidding me? You're telling me that we don't have one guy in this entire goddamn country that cannot shoot the ball better than the guys that we have now? Are you kidding? Are you sure? Did you do your homework? Did you even try to look for these guys? That I truly don't believe in. There's got to be some guys out there that are better than who we have representing the USA right now than the guys we have right now. And I would challenge the new coach to challenge the players that we have now, find new players. You're like, you know what? If you want to be on the team, if you're that good, you got to prove it to me. You know, I'm just saying, time for change, and I'm ready. I'm juiced up. I'm gassed up for this change. It needs to happen. It needs to happen quick. Thank God this guy got. And I don't want to say I'm glad he got fired. That's not good. I don't want to celebrate by anyone losing their job. You know, I don't want to say like, yeah, I'm proud that he's fired. I'm glad that he's fired. But the team needs to be in a new direction. The team needs to be, realigned. We need to refocus and rebrand the United States men's national team into a winning culture, and into like a no longer a, man, we're sort of good culture, or same old culture, like, oh, we do this all the time, or we can only beat Mexico. It's like, no, we should be beating everybody. I mean, everyone. Germany, I don't give a fuck. Spain, I don't give a fuck. Panama, I don't give a fuck. Uruguay, I don't give a fuck. Beat them. Anyways, everybody, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.